Taurus, wear this power color for April 16th, 18th, and 20th to attract wealth in 2026. Taurus. This message may have found you for a reason because not every soul arrives at a warning like this by accident, and not every heart is ready to hear it when heaven begins to whisper before a season of increase. There are moments when God does not shake the earth with thunder, but sends a sign so quiet, so precise, that only the spirit that has been tested will recognize it. And if you are here now, listening at this exact point in your journey, then April 16th, April 18th, and April 20th may not be ordinary dates for you at all. They may be sacred checkpoints, small gates placed in your path, inviting you to step out of weariness and into alignment, out of heaviness, and into blessing, out of fear, and into the kind of faith that changes what follows you into 2026. Taurus. There is a power color connected to these days, but listen carefully because this is not superstition, and this is not about fabric controlling fate. This is about what your soul chooses to wear when heaven is trying to restore your confidence, renew your peace, and prepare your hands to receive wealth without losing your center. Sometimes a color is not just a color. Sometimes it becomes a declaration. Sometimes it becomes a silent prayer. Sometimes it becomes the outer sign of an inner decision that says, I am done. Wearing anxiety, I am done. Dressing myself in old fear, I am done. Carrying the energy of delay, disappointment, and spiritual exhaustion. I am ready to wear peace. I am ready to wear favor. I am ready to wear the promise that what God has for me is still alive. Taurus, you have walked through seasons where you kept showing up, kept believing, kept praying, even when results were slow and answers were hidden. You smiled through uncertainty. You stayed strong through silent battles. You held yourself together while parts of your spirit were asking, how much longer? And that is why this message matters. Because when a faithful soul becomes tired, heaven often sends a symbol before it sends the breakthrough. In Buddhist wisdom, the mind must soften and loosen its grip before abundance can flow without distortion. In Christian faith, a blessing must be received with trust, humility, and readiness, not panic, not striving, not fear. And maybe that is why these days are approaching now, because you are being invited to stop chasing from desperation and start receiving from alignment. There is something about these dates that calls Taurus back to spiritual dignity, back to inner calm, back to a richer frequency where wealth is not only about money, but also about stability, wisdom, protection, and peace that cannot be stolen by chaos. So before I reveal more, do not rush past this moment. Let it settle into your chest. Let it touch the places in you that have almost forgotten what hope feels like. Because the right color, worn with intention, can become a reminder that your future will not be built by fear. Your future will be shaped by faith, discipline, grace, and the courage to agree with blessing before it fully appears. If this message is already stirring something in you, then stay with me until the end, because what you hear next may help you recognize why your energy has felt different lately, why your spirit has been sensing a shift, and why 2026 may be asking you to prepare now instead of later. And Taurus, if you are willing to receive this word, type, I am ready for God's abundance in the comments as your act of agreement. Like this video as a sign that you are choosing peace over pressure. Subscribe if you are ready for messages that protect your future and strengthen your spirit. And share this with another Taurus whose heart has been carrying too much in silence, because sometimes the first step toward wealth is not earning more, but recognizing that heaven has already begun to call your name towards something greater. Taurus, what is happening around you right now may look like delay on the surface, but in the language of the soul, it is preparation. And that is why your spirit has felt so restless lately, as if something unseen is shifting behind the ordinary rhythm of your days. You may have asked yourself why progress has felt slower than expected, why money has seemed close yet still out of reach, why your heart has been carrying a quiet weight even when you have tried to stay strong, faithful, and patient. But this is the part many people misunderstand. Not every slow season is a closed door. Not every pause is rejection. Sometimes God slows the outer harvest because the inner vessel is still being strengthened, and sometimes what feels like silence is actually mercy, because heaven knows that blessing without alignment can become burden instead of abundance. Taurus these days, around April 16th, 18th, and 20th, carry a symbolic invitation not because the stars control your destiny, but because creation often mirrors what the soul is already being asked to learn. In this message, astrology is not a master over your life. It is only a language of reflection, a symbolic window, a sacred mirror that helps you notice what your spirit may already know. And what your spirit may already know is this: you cannot enter a new season of wealth while still wearing the emotional garments of fear, exhaustion, resentment, and hidden scarcity. That is why your energy has felt unusual. You are not simply tired. You are shedding an old frequency. You are being called to examine the way you relate to provision, to security, to waiting to trust, and to your own worthiness to receive. In Buddhist wisdom, suffering deepens when the mind clings to control, to comparison to anxiety over outcomes, and to the illusion that peace must wait until circumstances improve. But true peace begins when attachment loosens and the heart becomes spacious enough to receive life without panic. In Christian faith, the same truth appears through surrender. God's timing is not cruelty, it is protection. A delayed blessing is not proof that you were forgotten. It may be proof that He is teaching your soul how to carry increase with wisdom, humility, and steadiness. Taurus, this is why your recent season has felt so intense. You have not only been working for money, you have been confronting the deeper beliefs that shape how you receive it. Perhaps part of you still fears that wealth will disappear as quickly as it arrives. Perhaps part of you still feels guilty for desiring more. Perhaps part of you still believes that struggle is more familiar than blessing. And if that is true, then this message is not here to shame you. It is here to awaken you. Because the real shift begins when you realize that abundance is not just a number in a bank account. It is a state of harmony between faith, thought, emotion, and action, and spiritual readiness. That is why even the color you wear in these sacred dates matters as a symbol. Not because color is magic, but because intention is powerful. What you place on your body can become a whispered agreement with your future. It can become a reminder that you are no longer dressing yourself in fear, no longer clothing your mind in defeat, no longer preparing for disappointment before the blessing has even arrived. You are preparing instead for favor, clarity, peace, and provision. So if something in you has felt different lately, honor it. If you have been sensing a shift, trust it. If you have been carrying a strange mixture of weariness and expectancy, do not dismiss it. It may be the sign that your soul is standing at the edge of a new chapter. And Taurus, if this message speaks to what you have been living through, then type, "I am learning to receive" in the comments. Like this video if you are ready to let go of fear and make room for blessing. Subscribe if you want messages that strengthen your spirit and protect your future. And share this with another Taurus who needs to remember that slow seasons do not always mean loss. Sometimes they mean heaven is teaching the heart how to hold wealth without losing peace. Taurus, the truth. And the center of this message is deeper than color, deeper than dates, and even deeper than the desire for wealth itself. Because the real doorway opening before you is not merely financial, it is spiritual. Wealth begins in the unseen before it appears in the visible. Abundance begins in the heart before it arrives in the hand. And that is why these sacred days, April 16th, April 18th, and April 20th, matter so much for you. They are not powerful because a color controls your future. They are powerful because they invite you to agree with the version of yourself that is finally ready to live without fear, receive without guilt, and prosper without losing peace. Taurus, your power color is not meant to function like a superstition. It is meant to serve as a holy reminder, a visible symbol that your soul is stepping out of heaviness and into favor. The most blessed colors for you in this season are soft cream, sacred white gold, golden beige, and gentle champagne gold. These are not random shades. Each one carries a spiritual message your heart needs now. Soft cream speaks of restoration. It carries the feeling of calm after long inner warfare. The quiet breath after stress. The mercy that comes when God allows the soul to rest. Sacred white gold speaks of divine covering. It reflects purity, clarity, and the light of blessing that protects before it provides. Golden beige speaks of grounded abundance. It reminds you that wealth is safest when it is stable, humble, and rooted in wisdom instead of ego. Gentle champagne. Gold speaks of graceful increase, the kind of prosperity that enters your life without chaos, without spiritual confusion, without stealing your peace to pay for your success. Taurus, these are your colors of alignment for these days. If you wear soft cream, let it remind you that you are no longer dressing in emotional exhaustion. If you wear sacred white gold, let it remind you that heaven's favor can reach you even in a season of uncertainty. If you wear golden beige, let it remind you that true prosperity is built step by step, prayer by prayer, choice by choice. If you wear gentle champagne gold, let it remind you that you do not need to force abundance because what is meant for you can arrive through grace as well as effort. This is the central truth you must hear with your whole being. Taurus does not lose wealth because of a color, and Taurus does not gain wealth because of a color alone. Taurus attracts wealth when the soul stops moving from lack and begins moving from trust. Taurus becomes magnetic to blessing when the inner world is no longer ruled by panic comparison, self-doubt, or the memory of past disappointment. In Buddhist wisdom, the grasping mind creates suffering because it believes security must be seized, controlled, and protected through fear. But when the mind becomes steady, desire becomes clean, action becomes wiser, and what comes to you can stay with you without poisoning your spirit. In Christian faith, blessing is not only something you chase, it is also something you receive through obedience, gratitude, and the humble confidence that what God prepares for you cannot be stolen by delay. Taurus, perhaps that is why this message is reaching you now. You are being called to wear these colors not as charms but as declarations. You are wearing restoration. You are wearing peace. You are wearing favor. You are wearing a future that no longer bows to fear. And Taurus, notice what these colors are not. They are not loud, harsh, or restless. They do not scream for attention. They radiate authority. They carry the energy of a soul that no longer needs to prove its value through struggle. That matters because your next season of wealth will not come through desperation. It will come through centered choices, timing, and a heart that has learned to trust order. Let these colors teach you that softness is not weakness, calm is not passivity, and peace is not delay. Peace is preparation for increase that will last. On April 16th, choose one of these tones and let your whole spirit say, "I welcome holy order into my finances." On April 18th, choose one again and let your heart say, "I release scarcity and receive God's provision." On April 20th, wear it once more and let it become a final agreement with the life you are preparing to enter in 2026, a life shaped not by superstition, but by disciplined faith, spiritual maturity, and open-handed trust. Taurus, do not ignore how deeply symbolic this can be. Sometimes a small outer act helps the soul make a powerful inner decision. Sometimes the color on your body becomes the message your nervous system needs to hear: I am safe enough to receive. I am worthy enough to prosper. I am peaceful enough to carry more. And if you are ready to claim that over your future, then comment, "I wear peace, favor, and abundance." Like this video if you are choosing blessing over fear. Subscribe if you are ready to walk into 2026 clothed in wisdom, protection, and increase. And share this with another Taurus, because when one faithful heart remembers how to receive the light of that awakening, can open the way for someone else too. Taurus, before you move forward, pause here with me for a moment, because this is not just the part where you listen, this is the part where you respond. This is the moment where the message stops being distant and becomes personal, where the blessing stops sounding beautiful and begins to ask for your agreement. Close your eyes if you need to. Take one slow breath in and let it reach the places in you that have been carrying pressure, financial fear, and silent fatigue. Then breathe out the weight of delay, the old disappointment, the hidden belief that you must always struggle before you are allowed to receive. Taurus, you do not have to enter your next season wearing the spirit of exhaustion. You do not have to approach wealth with panic in your chest. You do not have to keep dressing your future in old anxiety. These sacred days, April 16th, April 18th, and April 20th, are inviting you into a gentle ritual of realignment. Not superstition, not performance, alignment. On one of these days, choose your power color with intention. Let soft cream remind you that your soul is being restored. Let sacred white gold remind you that divine favor still covers your path. Let golden beige remind you that lasting abundance is built on peace, patience, and wisdom. Let gentle champagne gold remind you that graceful increase can enter your life without stealing your balance. And when you put that color on, do not do it casually. Do it prayerfully. Do it consciously. Do it as someone who is no longer agreeing with fear. As you wear it, whisper to yourself, "I receive what God has prepared for me. I release what no longer belongs to me. I welcome peace, provision, and protection into my life." In Buddhist understanding, intention shapes the quality of the mind, and the quality of the mind shapes the way life is received. In Christian faith, what you confess with trust becomes part of the atmosphere you walk in. So let this be your sacred act of agreement. Put your hand over your heart and say, "I do not chase blessings in fear. I receive them in faith. I do not beg for what heaven has already assigned to my path. I prepare myself to carry it with gratitude and wisdom." Taurus, This is your moment to stop waiting like someone forgotten and start standing like someone chosen. And if this message is touching your spirit, then do not stay silent. Write in the comments, "I receive God's peace, favor, and abundance." Let that sentence become your signal. Let it become your public agreement with the future you are stepping toward. Like this video as your act of alignment. Subscribe if you want more messages that strengthen your spirit, guard your peace, and help you walk wisely into wealth. Share this with another Taurus who needs a reminder that the road to abundance does not begin with fear, but with a heart that is finally ready to receive. And as you move through these sacred dates, protect your energy, bless your thoughts, and speak kindly over your future, because the life you are building in 2026 is already listening to the words you choose today. Taurus, let this be the night you stop shrinking your hope. Let this be the day you stop calling yourself delayed when heaven is actually preparing increase. Let this be the moment you agree to wear peace, carry faith, and walk forward like someone whose blessing is no longer behind them, but already on the way. Do not underestimate small, obedient acts. Taurus, because a quiet ritual done with sincerity can calm the mind, steady the heart, and prepare the spirit to recognize open doors when they appear. Before you sleep on these dates, thank God for what is coming, even if you cannot see it yet. Offer one simple prayer of gratitude. Release one fear. Bless one decision about money, work, or your future. This is how inner wealth grows first. This is how the soul becomes strong enough to hold outer wealth without confusion, pride, or fear of losing it again with calm and grace. Taurus, if you are still here, then perhaps this message was never random, because the soul does not remain to the end of a word like this unless something inside it is already recognizing the truth. Maybe this was never just about a color. Maybe it was never only about April 16th, April 18th, or April 20th. Maybe it was always about this moment, this quiet meeting between your spirit and the possibility that your life is not as delayed as it once appeared. Taurus, hear this gently. Now wealth in 2026 will not begin on the day money arrives. It will begin on the day your heart stops dressing itself in fear and starts clothing itself in peace. It will begin on the day you stop calling yourself unlucky and start remembering that a soul guided by faith is never abandoned. It will begin on the day you no longer make decisions from hidden panic, but from clarity, prayer, patience, and inner steadiness. That is why this message found you through something as simple as color, because heaven often hides profound invitations inside small acts of awareness. A color can become a threshold. A date can become a wake-up call. A video can become a mirror. And sometimes the sign you almost ignored becomes the doorway that helps you finally see what God has been preparing in silence. Taurus. The power color was never meant to replace your faith. It was meant to reflect it. It was meant to help you remember that there are seasons when your outer life begins to change only after your inner life agrees to change first. In Buddhist wisdom, awakening often begins not when the world becomes easier, but when the mind becomes clearer, softer, and less attached to fear. In Christian faith, blessing often enters not through noise, but through trust, obedience, and the quiet confidence that God can still open a path where nothing seems visible yet. So let this stay with you after this video ends. When you stand before your mirror on these sacred dates, remember that you are not just choosing what to wear. You are choosing what you will agree with. Will you agree with old disappointment or with new peace? Will you agree with the memory of lack or with the possibility of provision? Will you keep preparing for another season of burden, or will you begin to prepare for the life your spirit has been praying for? Taurus, there is something beautiful about a soul that chooses hope again after being tired. There is something powerful about a heart that chooses gratitude before proof appears. There is something holy about someone who has suffered quietly and still decides not to become bitter, closed, or afraid of blessing. That may be the real sign of your next season. Not the color alone, not the calendar alone, but the fact that you are becoming the kind of person who can carry abundance without losing gentleness, who can receive increase without losing wisdom, who can step into prosperity without leaving behind your soul. And maybe that is the circle closing now. What began as a simple question about a power color ends as a deeper revelation. The color is only the symbol, but you, Taurus, are the vessel. You are the ground being prepared. You are the heart being strengthened. You are the one being taught how to stand in favor without fear and how to receive without apology. So if this message has spoken to you, comment, "I choose peace, favor, and true abundance." Like this video if you are ready to enter 2026 with a protected spirit and a prosperous heart. Subscribe if you want more messages that help you walk with wisdom, healing, and divine timing. And share this with another Taurus who needs to know that the smallest choices can still shape the holiest futures. Taurus, do not forget this. Sometimes the first sign of wealth is not money. Sometimes it is peace returning to your spirit. And when peace returns, the door to everything else begins to open. Walk softly, pray deeply, and trust that what is meant for you is moving closer.